You're really blind?
Yes, I'm really blind, man. What are you, fucking deaf?
Yes, I'm fucking deaf.
It's going to be more, of course, a lot of blood, violence, guns involved as well. And it's very gritty. And it's a different feel compared to what the other MCU stuff that we've seen.
In the quiet words of the Virgin Mary, come again.
The other MCU stuff.
Let's rock!
Let's not beat around the bush here. Echo is a villain.
You're goddamn right.
She was a hitwoman for Kingpin at a young age, and one day shoots him in the face when she learns he killed her father. She then goes on to blow up a weapons cache of Kingpin's to send a message to his men that she wants to be the new Queen Pin. Now, I am slightly torn with this show. On the one hand, this is a giant steaming turd with burnt hair on it, but on the other hand, I can imagine as a young deaf girl this might be a show that would be good to watch, especially with all the sign language in it. But then again, I wouldn't call Echo a role model, because she's a villain and all. Now, I got through 3 episodes of this while I was in my sick pit with the lurgy, but because it was very boring, I kept falling asleep. And where 5 hours would actually be quite easy to watch when you're in bed all day, it actually turned into an impossible task for me. So what did I learn in the 3 hours that I did see? Firstly, Disney has a good tick boxing exercise. Deaf? Tick. Amputee? Tick. American Indian? Tick. Lesbian? Not quite sure on that one. I mean, she looks like one. Great! Tick!
Put another gay diverse woman in it. Make it more fucking lame.
The opening scene is one of the Choctaw Indians, apparently when they lived in caves and were a type of alien. Although, when I watched it, I felt like I was watching a cheap Avatar knockoff. The cave starts to collapse for unknown reasons, and obviously being Disney, the female avatar Chafa tries to hold the cave up while the men dive for cover, obviously. However, the cave fully collapses, and the next shot is them above ground walking, where they suddenly turn into humans. How did they get out of the cave after tons of earth collapsed onto them? Why did they just turn into humans after they were exposed to the sun?
I don't know.
Don't ask. Anyway, that is our first introduction of where Echo's powers come from. Not that you really see it in the show for the most part, and it's certainly not the abilities from the comics where she could pretty much mimic people's fighting styles instantly to beat them, a bit like Taskmaster. But as the writers for this mess said, that was kinda lame.
What are you, fucking stupid?
Instead, she gets special powers from her lineage, all the way back to those cave-dwelling aliens. Good one. We also get flashbacks to see how Echo lost part of her leg as a child, something the writers were really going out on a limb with on this one. She's involved in a car crash, and for some reason those windscreens and windows that shatter, for safety reasons, for some reason didn't this time, and instead broke off in large shards of glass that went through her leg, meaning it needed amputating. We find out that the brakes were cut by the enemies of her drug-dealing father. The father is told to leave for New York, and he takes Echo with him. Maya's dad works for Kingpin, and for some reason, Kingpin takes a shine to her and takes her under his wing, making her this badass hit woman. Now this for me is a big problem. At this point, Maya has no special powers. She's just an angry kid who gets taught how to fight and how to kill. However, she's already disadvantaged, because she has one leg, and, well, she's a woman. A woman cannot go blow for blow with men larger or at a similar skill set to her. Certainly not one who is an amputee, because they're already slightly weakened. We already see that she limps slightly when she walks. I mean, this character would be more believable if they made her fight more like Black Widow instead of Daredevil. Anyway, you watch it and you get bored for the rest of the episode, which has a lot of ASL, which, when I first heard that, I thought people wanted to know their age, sex and location. This, I have to say, was very annoying, especially as Maya only has 2 facial expressions, one of anger and one of empty, vapid nothingness. It's very difficult to gauge her emotions, mainly because she can't emote, as she isn't actually an actress. Apparently she just walked in the door of Disney, missing a leg and all. God, you couldn't ask for anything better, could you, Disney?
You lucky bastard. Who's that? You lucky bastard. What?
In fact, I'd go to say her character's quite grating. I didn't really like her at all. She came across as an angry child looking to burn everything down. Over the next few episodes we see her go back to her hometown because weirdly there's one of Kingpin's trading outposts that has his weapons deliveries there via trains. Maya wants to send a message to his people by blowing this up, and does it by getting on a moving train that's delivering to that warehouse and breaking into the container to set up a bomb. So we are supposed to believe an amputee can board a moving train, run along it on top, get down on the side of it and somehow climb underneath, hook herself on and then use a grinder to cut open a hole on the floor to gain access. Now I'm sorry, but unless she's packed a welding mask in her bag, all that grinding 5 inches above her face would burn a hole through her skull. Not to mention burning her hands as she pulls herself up through the hole to set her trap. And then get back under the train, place the cut flooring back in place and then seal the cuts with some liquid metal, I'm guessing. And how nobody saw a massive weld cut in the container when they offloaded it is beyond me.
That's some bullshit.
Anyway, they don't, and the bomb goes off, killing men and destroying Kingpin's weapons cache. Episode 3 shows us that Kingpin isn't dead and he comes to a little town to confront her as she's easily taken out by 2 girl bosses and a dickhead. Yes, if you haven't realised it already, this is peak MCU territory.
Put another gay diverse woman in it, make it more fucking lame!
The men in this already are meek, stupid, lonely, or all 3. We have a cousin who's a loser, another that is under Kingpin's control, a guy called Vicky who is an idiot, gangsters who act a bit feminine and get beat up easily by Echo, one security guard who pats down 2 men, but then decides to grope Echo because men are fucking bigots, and Daredevil who Echo goes toe to toe with, when in reality Daredevil would have battered her. I mean, let's be honest, we've all seen the cringe fight that's going around where her and Daredevil fight with all the hits are fucking miles away. I mean, Christ, you could park a car in between this one.
Ha! Gay!
And that's partly why this show's all over the place. We see her get captured by police and 2 cops have her pinned down. She gets chloroformed by a fat chick, yet she can take on Daredevil and about 10 villains. It doesn't know what it's fucking doing.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
The opening credits to episode 3 are pure cringe. It's set in the Wild West and tells a tale of another of her female ancestors who was the bestest ever at shooting and throwing sticks and helps her dad out one day, who's part of the Chuck Toy Indian police tracking villains. His dad and his posse, get pinned down by them and she comes to save the day with the powers of her ancestors to shoot them all and save the men. And it's all edited with what looks like fucking iMovie. It's super cheap looking. It's some of the cringiest shit I've watched in a long time.
Get that nasty shit out of my face!
Again, it's just another boring episode. A lot of sign language. Kingpin comes for dinner and tells her he wants her back in New York. Not sure why, she's fucking useless. He says she can be the queen pin she always wanted to be. She then sign shames him for not learning it for her, although later we see her flashbacks of him signing I love you, so kind of contradicts itself. And that episode finishes with Fisk on a plane getting upset because she didn't get on there to come back with him.
Fuck off.
To be honest, that's as far as I could get, and the biggest take from all this was there was very little character development of Echo. Yeah, we had a few flashbacks, but all I saw was a kid lose a leg, move to New York, lose a dad, get angry, and then learn how to kill people. Because again, we have another stoic female, we get nothing from them, other than she wants to be Queenpin, because she is a villain, and because of that you find yourself not caring or rooting for her. Quite the opposite. If you take John Wick for example, he is a villain, and he's a villain that follows a code, but you root for him because someone killed his dog that his dead wife gave to him. That gives you an emotional connection. But for Echo, you don't get any emotional connection because she doesn't emote. She comes across as angry, arrogant, selfish, and kind of childish. Once again, we have hack writers who bastardise an already shit comic book story into something even worse, with a ridiculous backstory and a character nobody likes. Certainly not after watching this garbage. It's plain to see why Disney ejaculated this one out so prematurely.
So long, gay boys!
And all at once, because they wanted it out and gone as quick as possible. Echo will be forgotten about in 3 weeks' time, because it's some of the most forgettable TV I've watched for a long time. I'm already forgetting it. Now, Disney are already on fire. The House of Mouse is burning bright, and yet they don't seem to want to call the emergency services to put it out. They seem intent to push more and more woke garbage out to the detriment of their stocks and shares. How sustainable this is anyone's guess, but you feel that Disney would rather collapse than stop pushing their not-so-gay agenda and diversity and equity agendas over good stories and good character developments. But let me know your thoughts. Did you watch it and enjoy it, or did you think it was pure cringe? What part made your eyes nearly roll out of your head? I heard episode 5 goes nuclear on the GIRLBOSS MCU. I've lost 3 hours of my life to this. I don't fancy losing 2 more and trying to finish it. Have a good one. I'll see you on the next video.